You're listening to a Roddenberry podcast.
Well, you've passed the identification check. It's 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. Welcome to the gala. It's Mission Log Live. I'm John Champion.
And I'm Holly Amos. And tonight it's time to pick up where we left off with Picard season 2. This week's episode 2 of 1. We've got 2 Picards, and there's at least 2 voices inside Agnes's head. As always, we want to hear from you in the Facebook chat and live with us. You know what to do. Click on the Zoom link or call us 669-900-6833. Enter the meeting code and password, and you will be in the Earl Green Room. My voice is very messed up. I'm sorry.
We're going to talk about that. We'll find out why. But yes, that is indeed what to do. You click the thing or you pick up your smartphone and you tap on the smart one-tap link and you call us and you'll be connected with Earl. And now I am told that a lot of people just hang out in the Earl Green Room. That's fine too. You can do that. But, you know, you probably have things to say and then you can say them to me and Holly because we're happy to hear your opinions on Star Trek Picard Season 2. And here we are past the halfway point with 2 of 1. Looking forward to what everybody has to say. But before we get to that, before we even welcome everybody who is in the chat right now, I see you all hanging out, saying hi. I'm going to get right over to you in a moment. But first, I got to talk to Holly. What's the deal with your voice?
A lot of scream talking and overstimulation of being social again at Mission Chicago. I got home this morning.
You did. Well, thank you for coming here after traveling all the way back from Chicago this morning. Nice to see you again. And so just, you know, in a nutshell, good show, fun. You want to do it again?
Yeah, good show. I'm looking forward to Seattle next year. I think, you know, there was a few things that were a little bit shaky and that, I mean, we're still coming out of COVID, so I don't really blame them for anything. But, you know, they did a show in New York in 2016. That was Reed Pop's first show. And I think a lot of people were unaware of that. But I feel like this show was better produced and might have had a better turnout, even though we're coming out of the pandemic. So I'm looking forward to Seattle next year. I think it'll be a good show.
Well, I'm sorry
worked out.
Sorry to miss Chicago. Yes, there are bugs to be worked out, but Seattle is very cool, and it's particularly cool in May. So I'm glad to be potentially going there next May. I look forward to that show. And right away in the chat, Paul Wright saying, already missing my Mission Log fam from Chicago. You got to hang out with Paul.
I did. We had a little gathering in a suite that happened to be in the same hotel I was staying at. So that was convenient.
Hosted by another Paul.
Yes.
So at least 2 Pauls represented there. Tracy Coco is there. Hashtag bring back Lieutenant J. There's Cosmo. There's Kim. There's Barry. Barry, who happens to be in LA right now and checking out Mission Log Live. I might be seeing Barry and Beth very soon. Let's see. There's Tom. There's Carly. There's Jane. There's Alan, the meme king of Mission Log. So let's see who else. We got Mike. We got Chris. Oh, there he is. That's who I was looking for with the greetings to Holly and John. Bob Amos.
Hi, Dad.
That's who I wanted to see. There's Dave. There's other Dave. There's other Paul. So I believe we're on our way to a Paul Fecta. Not quite yet. Scott Palm, very happy to see you here tonight. Scott, who has relaunched his business site, and Scott, who lives in Seattle. So I imagine we'll be seeing Scott next year at Mission Seattle. There's Nick, our old friend Nick DeGood. There's Kim. So many great people. There's Tate. There's Benjamin. Awesome to see you all. Thank you. Keep that chat going. And you know what to do. You're going to hop on the line with us. You're going to talk to Earl, and then Earl's going to drop you in. I know that we've got a couple of people waiting already. This should be a very interesting episode to talk about.
Yeah.
So I will just very quickly let everybody know what's happening in Mission Log land so that we can jump over to the recap. This week on Mission Log, of course, still covering Voyager Season 1. Thursday, it's Eye of the Needle. So I look forward to dropping that episode. And I look forward to chatting with everybody on Mission Log After Dark about said episode on Thursday afternoon. On Mission Log Prodigy, they're on a break right now, but don't worry, there's more coming. This is the perfect opportunity to catch up, listen to all those episodes you may have missed, and all those great supplemental episodes like 2 interviews with the Hageman brothers. We have our recap episodes. So if you haven't caught up on Prodigy, do it. There is more to come. Mission Log the Orville. Okay, get ready. They are back on Wednesday, April the 13th with the finale of season 2, The Road Not Taken. Do not miss it. And then Mission Log the Orville will be back in the coming weeks with some very special supplemental interview episodes that you will not want to miss. So if you are not following them now, go subscribe, go follow, and then make sure you follow them at ML_the Orville on Twitter. And, hey, as far as Mission Log me and Norman as well, make sure you go check out the backlog and the brand new episode starting this week, starting today, of Engage. That's where we engage with your comments and questions and tackling everything that's there. New shows are up as of today. And as always, make sure you stay in touch with all of our podcasts at podcast.roddenberry.com, where all the shows are listed and all the ways you can connect, follow, and subscribe to them. All right, you ready? You ready for a recap?
Yeah.
You don't have a choice. So.
Well, no, I was looking at how long it is, and I'm surprised that it's as long as it is, given that it was only a 38-minute episode.
I would say there were 2 ways to do this. Like one way would be to write about 3 sentences. Like they all go to a party. Picard meets Picard. He talks her into staying, and he gets hit by a car. Good night. But I threw in a little more detail. So here we go. We'll just knock right through it. Season 2, Episode 6, 2 of 1. Admiral Picard is knocked out on the pavement, blood trickling from his nose, so you know something absolutely did not go right. Time for a flashback. At the start of the gala for the Europa mission, Agnes Jurati is where she was in the security office, just waiting for her chance to knock out the guards with a tranquilizer gas so she can override the ID system. It works just in time to get Rios, Picard, and all the others into the party. All that's fine, but Agnes still had the Borg Queen swimming around in her head. It's anybody's guess who's really pushing the buttons. Agnes rejoins the party, all the while the Borg Queen in her head, taunting her about lying to her friends and making room in her body for the occupancy by the Queen herself. Elsewhere, Raffi, Rios, and Seven mingle while keeping an eye on Renee. Rios is kind of enjoying the stay in the 21st century. There's the intensity of all the stuff. And then there's also Dr. Ramirez. Raffi warns him not to get too mixed up with someone from a different century. Seven is doing all right, too. It's a whole different experience being freed from her Borg implants, but Raffi's got her eye on her, too. Then there's Renee. Having a few drinks, clearly consumed by doubts, clearly distracted by everything, she's texting her therapist, Q, who is still encouraging her to quit the mission, and at this point, Picard decides he needs to intervene. He radios Agnes, who is in her own world with the Borg Queen anyway, until Rios talks to her. She's clearly out of it, and it's forces a kiss with Rios because, hey, resistance, am I right? The closer Picard gets to Renee, he is intercepted by Dr. Sung, who has the upper hand. If he can't talk Picard out of his business there with him and Q, he'll bully him with money. Sung has joined the board through donation and now uses his power to have security keep an eye on Picard and usher him out. The others, aware their time is limited, try to keep an eye on Renee, but the Borg Queen, through Jurati's head, improvises. She shuts down power in the place long enough for Picard to elude security, while Dr. Jurati entertains the crowd with an old jazzy musical number by Pat Benatar. The Borg Queen is suitably impressed and reinvigorated by all the endorphins. She even tells Agnes that she's taking over for a little while, which Agnes can do nothing about. All of this gives Picard enough time to catch up with Renee. He is a stranger to her, but he gives her some words of wisdom about not giving in to fear. She's suitably refreshed and ready to join her fellow astronauts for a photo op, and the two Picards take a shortcut outside to get back. When they do, however, Dr. Sung is there in his Tesla to try to take out Renee, only she is pushed out of the way and Jean-Luc takes the hit. Rios and the gang come running, and they rush to Dr. Ramirez's clinic. The doctor is stumped. Picard isn't waking up and even burns out her defibrillator, but at least his vitals are stable. He just isn't waking up. Meanwhile, across town in his cool Malibu hexagon home, Dr. Sung stumbles in, looking much worse for wear, and starts rambling to his daughter Kore about creation and the why of it all. Dad needs help Dad needs to sleep this off, obviously. So when he's away, Corey does what she's not done up until now. Google her dad. He's a mad scientist, if you believe the press, and he's been working in genetics for years. More ominous, though, is the collection of photos and videos of kids who look like herself but are not her. They are creations of Sung, and none of them lived too long. Corey comes to the realization that she is one of many. In the clinic, the only one with a new plan to help Picard is Talen. Over the objections of Raffi, she proposes a kind of mind meld facilitated by her neuro-optic interceptor. Out of options, it's the best way to go, and the team have nothing else to lose except Agnes, who is wandering barefoot under the Borg Queen's control down an empty LA City street. The end. See, not too long.
Yeah, you got everything in. There is
Pretty
a lot
much.
that happens in 38 minutes. It was just pretty concise, right? Like,
I read somewhere that it was the shortest live action Star Trek other than any of the short treks, if you count those.
right.
Yeah.
Well, worked out for me because I actually had to watch it on the way from the airport to the convention because I was like, if I don't watch this, it's going to get ruined
Yeah.
for me.
Oh, sure.
So I
Yeah.
watched it. I was like, my Uber driver, I was like, do you mind? And it took an hour to get there. So I watched the whole thing and I was like, oh, it's only 38 minutes. What?
Yeah, super short, super easy. So I was kind of glad though, but look, I'm going to save my thoughts on why and kind of how it is with the story because I want to hear what other people have to say first. But that was definitely one of the first things that stood out to me about this episode. But what do you say we go to our first callers, plural,
Yeah, plural. Two of
see what they have to say.
one.
We have the vice, two of one. We have the Vice Admiral and Julie joining us. How you doing?
I'm great. Both of you, I hope we're the same. You?
Yeah, I'm good. No,
Okay.
no cracks have yet opened up in the earth. So
Very cool to see you two hanging out. That's awesome. Wait, who's traveling where? Neither of you were in Chicago, were you?
No. Julie's
Okay.
here with me.
Right on. Very
I'm in
cool.
godforsaken Cleveland.
It's one of the nicer neighborhoods of Cleveland, is godforsaken Cleveland. So
Yeah.
Oh, that's not saying much, but yeah.
I've had good times in Cleveland, and I expect that both of you will too. So, what is on your minds collectively? Two of one.
You can go first. You have way more to say than I do.
So I've been thinking about this, John, especially tonight's episode and all the little tiny clues that look like they're not clues, but I think are. And it is this. I don't think Renee is anything but a red herring. I think the entire focus here, the reason we get to the future we saw is because Soong succeeds with Corey.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I don't doubt that idea. I don't know if it's the correct one, but I can see how you'd arrive there, and I don't doubt the veracity of getting there, simply because look, this is a show that is 10 episodes long. They're going to keep trying to throw us little divergences, little distractions to keep us off the path of what's really happening. And I think you were the one who brought up in the Discord early on. You said, well, like, we don't even know if Renee's presence on that mission is the correct outcome.
Right.
So yeah, there's a lot unknown here.
I do think that Renee is going to end up being less important than Soong. Q could have chosen anyone to do his bidding. He chose Soong for a reason. And I don't think that reason is we wanted to cast Brent Spiner. Not that that isn't a bad reason in and of itself, but I don't think that's it. That's certainly not an in-universe reason.
I mean, we do know that Soong plays some sort of significance because we see, that holographic statue of him in the first episode.
Yes.
Exactly.
So and that's what I'm waiting for. Actually, this connection that they made of him making a substantial donation to get on the board, I was like, oh, that was fairly obvious, but I didn't even think of that because I was waiting for the connection that Q's made between Renee going on this mission and what does Soong have to do anything, and then what does Soong have to do with?
He's trying to put Picard and Soong together.
And I think that's because he initially, what we think is when he showed up, he was just going to snap Renee out, which would have given Picard enough reason to show up in the first place. He just wants Picard here now to meet Sung in some way, so that maybe it's Picard's technology that saves Kore.
Right. But okay. But then my question is though, okay, so we know that, Ramirez is having issues with, her defibrillator burns out and like, she's figuring stuff out that like, he's a synthetic body. So
all the transplants,
right. All the transplants, like they have that car, all of them.
Yeah.
So at what point though, if he's screwing with eugenics and Corey is a result of that, and he meets Picard and somebody finds out that that's a synthetic, and how does he go from that extreme to the other? Because the only thing that we hear this hologram saying in the first episode is that, a human galaxy is a safe galaxy. So I feel like anything that is alien to a natural human being, he's against, which is not what's happening right now.
Well, if it saves her, if it saves Kore and makes his work finalizable, maybe it doesn't matter to him. Maybe the ends justify the means, right?
Could be. The reaction that Picard had when he runs into Sung at the party was amazing, though.
Oh yes,
that was pretty epic.
They did so much without saying a word.
Yeah,
it was wonderful.
Also, the genes run deep in that Sung family.
Oh yes. The seed is strong.
By the way, Rand pointing out the obvious. Julie is not really there in person. She's just steering the vice admiral from within his mind. So yes, that is correct. That is absolutely correct. I want to know,
as I want to do.
Yeah. Well, duh. Yeah. I want to ask the collective here. That's the word. Any more speculation on what is wrong with Q or what Q's motivation may be? Because that's still quite the mystery. Question. Yeah. Something's wrong. We don't know what, though.
Well, we don't know how much is wrong. We don't know if he can do nothing, if he can do some things, but not the thing he wanted to do in that scene we saw.
Yeah.
We really know very little about what his limitations are and why. I certainly hope the explanation is not disappointing.
Yeah.
As always.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, what if it's that there is no Q continuum in this universe?
Ooh.
But does he need the continuum for his powers?
Well, I think he needs them for the big ones.
Yeah.
Ooh.
To snap. I mean, if I don't know what he was trying to do to Renee at the end of
the rest of the continuum. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Which episode does he try to snap Renee and nothing happens? Was he just trying to snap her out of existence and now he has to involve all these other people to stop her?
Just sitting there in Jackson Roy Kirk Plaza like nobody's watching. Yeah. I remember that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Talon even asks Picard at some point, why doesn't he just snap her out of existence? And I'm like, I think he tried to do that. And it didn't work.
All of this just hurts my brain. For me, the episode was about the Borg Queen Agnes buddy team.
Yeah.
I just want to watch that forever.
They need to get their own series, right? Yes. Yeah. That's a lot of fun.
I just want to watch that, and I want to know if, John, you are actively looking for her or actively trying to avoid her.
Well,
because she's out there in 2024 Los Angeles.
That's very true. Wandering. Look, and I love downtown. Some of my favorite restaurants and clubs are downtown. So look, if you see me walking around looking for a barefoot psychopath, that might be
red dress
and a great red dress. Yeah.
People are gonna cosplay the heck out of that. I'm really excited. I'm looking forward.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. It's a beautiful dress.
I do have to say that, 7 of 9's asymmetrical dress, that was very cool.
Okay.
That
all of the women looked amazing.
They all look fabulous. I mean, come on.
The costume department said, we get to put hot women in ball gowns. Yes.
Let's do that. That sounds like a good excuse for an episode, which will probably bring me to my point about the timing. But any final thoughts here before we move on to our next caller?
I think we've monopolized enough time, I think.
Okay, well, certainly not, but I wanted to make sure you got out the important thoughts.
As always, great to see both of you. And
likewise.
Have a wonderful time, guys.
And what a cool surprise to see both of you.
Yeah.
Take care. Have a great evening, and see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Take care. All right, let's go ahead and bring on. Tate says more classy than a cat suit. Well, I don't know. Depends on where you're going. Let's see here. Sam says Q was trying to snap self-doubt into Renee. Then he had to play therapist. Interesting. Cool. All right. Well, let's go ahead and talk to Alan, who is patiently waiting here, and let's see who Alan is with. I mean, maybe he's got a buddy on the call as well. Let's see. No. Okay. Alan, singular Alan. Welcome to the show. How's it going tonight?
One of one.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm, flying solo tonight. It's just one of those. I don't even have my lower decks buddies with me.
No need to apologize. We know they can come back when and if you want them.
Oh yeah. I'm sure that by season 3 everything will be copacetic. So
Ren says it'll be Julie again. Just whenever you call that. That would be awesome.
Wait. Let's.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
No.
So, Alan, what is on your mind tonight about 2 of 1?
Well, I also want to talk a little bit about Corey, and specifically, I'd like to play the name game because after that rather fascinating scene at the very end, I quickly got online and started Googling, and big red flags popped up when I Googled Corey, and the Persephone page came up.
Yeah.
I believe
it.
Despoina.
That was it. Yeah.
There were
Persephata and Artemis.
Those were the 5 names that I could make out just from listening and from watching on the closed captioning. And of those 5, 3 of them are names of Persephone. There's Persephone, Corey, and Persepheta. And of the other 2, they are half sisters of Persephone. Despoina is a daughter of Demeter, as is Persephone, and Artemis is a daughter of Zeus, as is Persephone. Although there is, we'll get to a secondary connection maybe in a little bit here, but looking at that name, Soong's got a thing. Maybe a little bit of a god complex.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
And when you consider that Persephone being the queen of the underworld in mythology, thank you, Hades Town, for refreshing my memory on that stuff. But also being a symbol of immortality as it relates to her coming back every year from the underworld. It kind of put me in mind of a different Dr. Soong and a different creation of his, and a conversation about why humans have children.
Yeah. You can definitely connect that. See, that is, I mean, for better or for worse, that is one of the weird things about hinging everything on the Soong family for literally hundreds of years, because somewhere along the line there was a Soong who just wanted to open up like a nice sandwich shop. Had to be.
I just want to make milkshakes.
Yeah, like there's nothing wrong with that. You should go make like an amazing milkshake. So
I want to meet the unambitious Soong.
Yeah, they might be cool to hang out with. They'd be easy to dance. Yeah, they'd be easy to spot. You know exactly what they look like. Guy that looks like Data. But yeah. I also kind of wondered, just purely comedically, like, it takes, we don't know how long these creations are living. We know, but clearly it's a short time, and they haven't had a lot of time to go, well, Google themselves or their father, and he's keeping them essentially locked up. Like, I guess, does nobody visit them and nobody wonder, like, hey, you just had this daughter who was this old a minute ago, and now they're gone, and now, there's somebody else. Like, that doesn't raise any red flags?
I don't know. I mean, he certainly was talking about his daughter a lot when he was with the board members, and the fact that, well, and when come to think of it, I think in the swimming scene, the previous week, he had talked about her missing a decade or two of life experiences.
Right.
Maybe
Right.
she just didn't have them. Maybe she's like a year old, and rapid aging is part of the Sung genetic milkshake.
Ooh, a milkshake. Yeah.
Bring it back to
Hey.
milkshakes. Bring it
Yeah,
back.
bring it
Yeah.
back.
I do, hey, with all of that, for all the shortcomings of the Sungs, I have to say that they're all pretty well adjusted. The kids seem to be, given those
yeah.
inherent limitations. So he did something right there.
I'd
Yeah.
just be angry that he was making me sleep on a couch.
Yeah, well, of course, of course.
Why doesn't she have a bed? Why is she sleeping on
Yeah.
the couch? It's so random.
Yeah,
It's a little weird. And again, getting back to the Greek mythology stuff, I mentioned that Artemis is a daughter of Zeus, but at least in one thing that I read, she's also connected again to Demeter as a symbol of fertility and an aid for childbirth. And so it all not just comes back to Persephone, but also Demeter too, which makes me again wonder why Aesophrionis is the model for this. Is there a Demeter that he is trying to recreate in some ways as a daughter?
I appreciate the deep dive on the Greek.
Yeah.
Well, I was, like I said, I was fascinated, and I was like, that's a lot of names.
Yeah.
I wonder, and I was just going to start to just Google them off individually. And yeah, just like the first one, Kore, Persephone. Boo, boo, boo.
Right.
Yeah.
By the way, Holly Jane is agreeing with you in the chat. Right on, Holly. What up with the couch? See?
I mean,
people want to know.
I'm sitting on the couch right now. They're not comfortable to sleep on, though.
Who's on the couch?
Give her some memory foam.
Yeah, memory
Or
foam
feather
along with
bed.
all the implanted memories. Maybe that's part of the thing. Maybe she has a memory of sleeping on a very comfortable bed. So, that might be
Yes.
one of the alterations. Yeah.
If only.
Any other thoughts tonight, Alan?
Well, I do have a question for you guys.
Yes.
Because I had one slight quibble with this episode, similar to one that I had for an episode of Discovery. I didn't quite dig Stormy Weather as a song to sing to someone as a comfort.
I have a fun fact about this.
I
you?
was going to say, I think I know the same fact, but go ahead.
Okay.
You can go. Then you go.
Oh,
Go.
yeah.
Please.
No, were you saying the thing on the Ready Room that Frakes said about it originally being feeling good tonight?
Yes, they changed it
Yeah.
because Alison Pill was concerned that using "Feeling Good" by Nina Simone would be inappropriate, given the fact that it was basically a civil rights anthem. So they changed it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But at the same.
Oh no.
We're getting interrupted.
We've lost Adam. It's the Borg Queen canceling cellular communication. Oh no. All right. Well, Adam, what am I saying?
Alan,
I'm so sorry. We'll say goodbye to you. And actually, this will be a moment that we can chat a little bit and then talk about our winner for tonight's giveaway of No Man's Land. But let's talk about that musical scene. I feel like other people might call in about that as well.
Yeah, I have in the notes. I just have a bunch of question marks because I get why they're trying to distract so that Picard could get away, but I was like, wow, this is really abrupt and feels out of place.
Yeah.
I didn't know Alison Pill could sing like that.
Apparently she can. Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah, good for her. And it is one of those weird TV tropes, movie tropes, where somebody starts singing and the band just knows it. And the band is perfect. And they don't question it. Like, here's somebody else who we don't know, and they're just starting to sing. So I guess we'll go along with it.
I mean, the whole thing, though, like the whole gala that they're in and like that happening, I was like, this feels like a Dixon Hill program.
Yeah. Now, I've never tried that. I was at a jazz show last weekend, and I didn't actually, I knew some of the songs that the band was playing. I didn't just presume to walk on stage and start singing them. That's just not anything that I would
But
ever
you
do.
weren't trying to distract the security so that Picard could get away either.
No, that's true. And I was not wearing that dress. So that's the other thing counting against me. So very true. Now, here's the thing. I don't want to be a downer for this episode because I think this was an interesting, fun kind of breaking the format episode. This felt a little like a Mission Impossible mission where you have the whole team working together. They got to infiltrate a place. They got to distract security. They got to find their target. Like, had a very Mission Impossible feel to it. And I'm fine with that because, look, Star Trek and Mission Impossible were kind of sister shows. They're at Desilu. And it just, whenever Star Trek can break its own format like that, fine, I'm cool with that. The thing that felt really weird to me is that this story could have been 20 minutes that were part of another story.
Right.
And I feel like the reason that this is a singular, very short episode is that it almost feels like the writers, producers, whomever is pulling the strings there decided, look, we have all these ideas that we really like that we can't just let go of. So we're going to stretch this out into a 30 plus minute episode on its own. That'll fill our, that'll get us to 10.
Right.
So we can get to our 10 episodes. Whereas otherwise, really a little more draconian editor could come in and say, no, look, really all you need to do is just get Picard in the same room with Renee and let them have that talk. And then Sung try to kill Picard. Like that, that's all that needs to actually be accomplished here.
Well,
that's
and I'm curious to see, once we get through it all and do a rewatch and really like if there's some things that don't get tied up at the end or that get tied up a little bit too conveniently. I'm going to say that maybe this episode should have been more concise and part of another episode storyline as well.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's the potential for them to have to cram a bunch of stuff at the end because there was a little bit of wasted time that could have been more concise.
Right. Yeah. It had a weird feel to me for that to be a very short episode that also feels like it's stretching for time. you know, they did both of those things with one thing. Chris Riker says Pat Benatar is huge in the 25th century. Yes. Along with Space Rockers, Andromeda. Go watch that episode if you haven't. And let's say, and then Tate says maybe one of the later episodes is longer than normal. I mean, it could be. And
they don't have to stick to any sort of like network TV 45 minutes so that commercials can fit in around it anymore. Yeah.
Oh, and I like this. Chris says, I actually wish they'd added another 5 minutes to flesh out Renee's character. And, I would be cool with that from either the previous episode or this one. I mean, this one takes place entirely in that space, almost entirely in the space of that gala. I would have liked more of her that isn't just kind of the bare bones that we've gotten now. She's ambitious, she's smart, but she's also
panicked.
battling this depression and panic and fear. All great stuff, all makes sense, but I do feel like we need a little more about her. So I get it. Hey, we have Paul and Cosmo and Chris standing by. More of you who have not called in yet, you have time because we're going to talk to all of you tonight. I feel like it. But before we get there, we are going to tell you very quickly about our sponsor tonight. And our sponsor for, let's see, I believe tonight is week 5, so only one more opportunity. Let me make this very, very clear. Anybody within the sound of my voice who has not followed us on Twitter and not used hashtag MissionLogLive with the book title No Man's Land, the contest resets every week. So there are new chances to win every single week. So we'll get that out there in a couple of days. But tonight, we are going to tell you all about the book again and about tonight's winner. So you too can win a copy. You just use the hashtag you can use Star Trek Picard, but that is the audio drama for No Man's Land. Our hashtag Mission Log Live. Make sure you put that and the book title No Man's Land. Just put it out there because we're going to follow those tags and we will announce a winner on this show every Monday night for 6 weeks. Again, this is week 5. You got one more week to do it. So before I tell you who the winner is, Holly, would you do us the honor of telling us about the audiobook?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So,
Ah,
and I
awesome.
finished it. I finished it on the way to
cool.
the
Cool.
show, and it's great. No Man's Land takes place between seasons 1 and 2 of Picard. 7 of 9 and Rafi. They're trying to get some R&R, but then they get interrupted, as you always do in the Star Trek world.
That
And
happens.
they have to team up to rescue a mysterious ageless professor who is being endangered by a vicious Romulan warlord. And we get to tentatively explore the attraction hinted at in the finale of Picard season 1. And we're seeing a little bit of that in this season too. No Man's Land is an original, fully dramatized Star Trek adventure written and produced exclusively for audio, complete with authentic. We're not doing synthetic things. It's Picard. It's fully immersive, seamless experience. No Man's Land is the work of Kirsten Beyer, who is a co-creator, writer, and producer for Picard, and Mike Johnson, who is a veteran contributor to the Star Trek comics at IDW. Yay. And maybe we're going to see them soon.
You are going to see them soon. I believe it'll be 2 weeks from tonight that we will all see them. So yeah, stick around for that. Mm-hmm.
So Jerry Ryan is 7 of 9. Michelle Hurd is Rafi. Fred Tatasciore is also in it. Fun fact, Fred. I talked to some of the guys at Lower Decks, and they didn't even know that Fred did it. They're like, yay, he's in other parts of the universe. So that's great. Star Trek storylines have long challenged assumptions and contributed to real cultural progress, and the same-sex attraction as the basis of No Man's Land. No Man's Land continues this tradition. It is published with the full support and participation of CBS, Star Trek, Paramount, creative promotional team. So everybody's on board.
Yeah. And what you need to know is that, unlike an audiobook, a traditional audiobook where it might be like, a dozen hours of a narrative, this is done like a radio drama, like a play with these characters in real time, and you hear the sound effects, and it's very cool. It's just an awesome thing to listen to. Let's see. And actually in the chat, Jane says, listen to No Man's Land. Good story. Nice to fill in the missing time between season 1 and season 2. So take it from Jane. If you don't take it from us, there you go. Tonight's winner is Cherie Marie Lee on Twitter, and often a caller to the show. So congratulations, Cherie. Just email us and we will get you connected with your free download for No Man's Land. Remember, follow us at Mission Log Pod. Use that hashtag Mission Log Live with the book title, No Man's Land. And then we're going to, it's one more chance. That's it. Just your last opportunity is between now and next week when we do the show, and you could win your very own copy. All right, let's get back to the talk about Picard 2 of 1. And we have one of our Pauls, one of our more than 2 Pauls calling in. It is Paul Harvith, who is also in Chicago. And I don't know, are you recovered, rested, and ready?
God, no, at my age, we left Saturday. It was a good time, and such a pleasure to meet Holly and so many of the Mission Log crew at the gathering on Friday night. It was a lot of fun. I don't know, at least 5 bottles of wine disappeared, so that was good.
Nice.
Yeah, we took pictures with just empty bottles of alcohol.
Wait, I want to know. All right, so you had Star Trek wine. I want to know about the snack highlights, because I saw that you had some baked goods that were brought along.
I did, and Holly provided incredible feedback. I offered everybody the chance to provide feedback, and the ginger molasses cookies won the night. The shortbread needed a little bit extra, and apparently the Stovacor cake is an acquired taste for those who really need a chocolate just blast.
It's delightful, except that it didn't have flour in it, right?
Right. Yeah.
So it's super dense, and I had a little sliver and was like, "That's enough."
See, now we're talking. Enough. I'm all over that.
And Rhea had about 5 square inches, so she needed to stay awake longer.
Oh my God.
True story. She it was interesting to watch. There was no ginger, there was no cookies left. There's a little bit of cake left. We used it for the ride home on Saturday.
Nice.
So
I'm so glad you all got to hang out.
It was fun. It was a really good time. We came home, watched Picard, and holy cow, I don't care if it's Star Trek anymore. I just think this is the most well casted Trek show ever. Just sit back and watch the actors act. I mean, Alison Pill, holy cow. And Issa Baronis, that whole viewing of her supposed history.
Yeah.
But the sleeper in all of this is the line, "We are the good guys." The good
Rios.
guys don't have to say that.
Yes.
That's the line that I think is a sleeper, and I think he's going to get left behind.
You know what? I wrote down the same exchange because I write down, favorite lines from an episode. My other favorite line was Picard saying, "Fear doesn't speak in riddles," which yeah, beautiful, brilliant. But the line about the good guys I thought was so cool because it shows an appropriate and learned kind of cynicism that Dr. Ramirez has, and I think we can all relate to. And you do have to wonder, what is Rios's fate here? Are we going to lose a member of the team this way, and is that acceptable? Because the other question, the flip side of that, and I can't remember, Holly, if it was you who first said, is Dr. Ramirez going to be like our Dr. Taylor coming to the future? Yeah.
Like
so
Gillian. I mean, it felt very that the whole setup that of her character and felt very Star Trek 4-esque.
But she has a huge mission in this century to deal, to help the folks who can't afford medicine.
Yeah, so I actually feel like it might be the opposite, that Rios might stay behind because he seems,
that's my thought,
very impressed and enamored by what she is trying to do, because he just, Rafi in this episode is like, "What is this glow?" And then mentions her, and he's like, "Did you know that like there was nowhere else that they could go? She built that place for them." He just seems very like impressed by her, and I think he might stay behind to help her carry out her mission of providing affordable healthcare to people who can't get it anywhere else.
And maybe you need somebody like that who isn't a cynic, who can be a good guy, who can be a voice for that in this new bold future, restarting from 2024. So,
well, he's just got to stick around to prove that he is the good guy, right?
Yeah, right. Well, and interesting here in the chat, Dave Taylor says, "I just wrote on Discord about Rio staying behind." So definitely we'll check that out. Discord for our Patreon followers. And then Alan says, "I put down Rio/Ramirez odds on the Discord." So that's happening as well. And then Chris points out, makes a very good point. If Dr. Ramirez goes forward, she'll have to take her kid. So that way, he answers his own question though, and he says maybe he can leave his EMH.
Yeah.
Yep. Never know.
She doesn't have to take the kid. Heartless. Holly is heartless.
Ask your dad about that, Holly.
He's got an aunt that can take care of him that we know about already.
All we know about that kid is he just steals stuff that isn't his. So, yeah.
So I think the other thing I'll leave you with and let everybody get a chance in here is I think Issa Baronis may need a psychiatrist when this is all over. She has played some very, very sad robots or just tortured individuals, and I feel for her as an actress. I mean, it's like, is all Star Trek like this? Because she's so young, right? She's early 20s.
Yeah, she's in her early 20s.
What a crazy debut in this show. But anyway, just love this show. I think it's the best casted ever, and I'll stand by that for a long time. So, Holly, it was great to meet you. John, it's always good to see you.
Yeah, and, likewise.
Live long and prosper, all.
Take it easy. Live long and prosper. Yeah, I got to second that. I mean, look, we have been blessed with many great Star Trek casts over many great Star Trek series, and I think they all definitely have their strengths. This is one of those shows where I could look at really any character or any character pairing and go like, oh yeah, that would stand on its own as a series. Like you could picture a Captain Rios series or a Captain Rios popping up in more places. Definitely 100%. I think that Jerry Ryan is the MVP here, and I want to see more of Seven, on her Fenris Ranger thing.
What do you think they're setting up Seven for too? Because there's a lot of commentary about how she's more comfortable without her Borg. Maybe she's going to stay behind too, because then she doesn't have to have that that weight of having been a Borg, and like socially people are afraid of her, and she's even made comments like, people don't usually like me, and but then something's going on between them. I don't know, I think that something's going to happen with her too.
It was such a subtle thing in that first episode when they arrived in LA and she beams in and the kid goes, are you a superhero?
Mm-hmm.
And she was so surprised, but so you felt the ease of her delight with that. And just in that very subtle moment, you just go like, wow, this is something very different for Seven. And I think, like Spock, this is one of those characters now that we've been able to grow over a couple of decades to actually give them some life and some depth. In the way that you could look at Rios's motivations for staying behind and how that would be a really good thing for him and potentially a really good thing for Dr. Ramirez and for the future that we want to happen, you can look at Seven as facing this other very real challenge. Do I stay behind because I have these strong emotional reasons to be here, and just certainly the physical reality of not being Borg anymore or having that, the implants anymore? That could be a really strong character moment and challenge for her. So,
I mean, arguably though, like her reasoning is a lot more selfish than Rios's, right?
Yeah, could be. By the way, Chris says Rios and Seven are going to become supervisors. That could be interesting.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah, I just, they're so good. And of course, we've all talked about how Jurati could be her own show. I mean, there's a lot going on here. So, yeah, I dig. All right, let's take our next caller. It is Cosmo. It looks like Cosmo has a red alert situation going on at home. So, Cosmo, talk to us. What's up? How are you?
I think a dolphin down at Cetacean Ops pushed a button or something.
Oh, yeah, they always come on. They can't be trusted.
Just flipped a fin into something on accident.
What's up?
I agree. Seven has been an MVP, and that's why I was kind of bummed this episode. She didn't do anything. And as far as a Mission Impossible Star Trek episode goes, you think back to the Deep Space Nine where they go into Vic's casino to save it. Sure. Everybody had a role in that and everybody was integral. And this didn't really play out that way. And even you think back to the Royale where Riker, when Data had to pull off the gambling. Right. I was really disappointed that Seven didn't do anything except a dropped line from Rafi saying, "Oh, look at the life of the party."
Yeah. Well, that's why, I mean, I would love to know in the aftermath, when the actual history of the production of this show is written, I would love to know how the decisions were made to get here, because it's things like that with, Seven really being a non-player, Rafi really being a non-player here. You feel like, again, this is something that could be done very easily. And since we split up the team ahead of time, like when they first got to Earth, everybody was split up. This literally could be just a mission that, Picard and, maybe Picard and Dr. Jurati do on their own, or Picard and his supervisor. Like, you don't actually have to have everybody there. So it feels like for a short episode, it got stretched. And you have a cat in your face.
There is spot 73.
While I was waiting, no attention. And now she hears your voice and now she's in.
Oh, hi. Oh, hello, kitty. Yes.
So I have long not liked Jurati. I do not buy her defense of alien coercion for killing Maddox, and I do not forgive her for that. But I have greatly enjoyed her and the Borg Queen the last couple of weeks. So that's working for me, that dynamic. It's been fun. And it's turned a character that I did not enjoy seeing on screen into a good presence for me. So I'm enjoying that. I'm anxious to find out what's going on with Q. Sure. Because he still has some powers, obviously, because he was able to somehow become her therapist. So right. Did he hit the therapist on the head
Freud
with
invention?
Yeah.
Bad Freud.
Did he Looney Tunes him and change it, take his clothes and just do a funny voice, or did he snap? Or is he Ubering to go meet with Adam Soong, or is he snapping? And
Is he Ubering?
he had to get across town to meet with him somehow.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so
Sure.
it's coming out frustratingly slow, and we've got the mystery of what Corey was and the mystery of what's going on with Q and what his motivations are. So there's just seems like extra mixed mystery boxes right now for us, and I want to just find out what's going on with Q and what's his whole plot.
By the way, some very good points in here. Rand says, every time I think someone would make an interesting spinoff, they get dead. Like, hey, I wonder if we'll find out what Hugh, Maddox, and Icheb have been up to. Oh, I guess not. And then Sam makes a great point. It says, if they change the future back to the Federation, then anyone who stays behind wouldn't have traveled back from the Confederation in the fixed timeline. So potentially a problem there, unless this all hinges on Q and Q could let them stay there. I don't know, but that's a very good point. And then Brandon says, hi from Denver, Holly, your buds miss you.
What? Oh, I forgot they were there. Hi, you guys.
So there you go.
I'm sorry. I check out. I mean, I've been in Chicago and I'm just in Star Trek, and I don't look at the news. I don't do anything else. And coming back into the real world, I was like, oh, there's other stuff going on.
Right.
Ooh.
There is other stuff going on.
Sorry. Hi, guys.
No, Cosmo, I really do agree with a lot of what you're saying. I mean, certainly I've had some frustrations with some of the characterization, and I feel like, again, this is an episode that was very enjoyable, but it's just so weird because it just feels out of step. And I
really
strange.
enjoyed that moment with Picard's speech. I really connected to that. And it was nice after Picard essentially being sidelined for several episodes.
Yep.
And now he's hit by a car and maybe sidelined again, and they're going to go into his subconscious, which we've certainly seen numerous times before.
Sure.
Director Sloan on Deep Space Nine going into his unconscious brain.
Mm-hmm.
We went into Loxana and Troy. So
right, Dark Page,
it'll be interesting to see how it goes. But it's definitely a Trek trope. But it was nice to see that speech by Picard. And I hope the speculation about Rios is wrong, because I really like Rios and I enjoyed the heck out of him as the Stargazer captain. And I hope there's more of him. But with the announcement of the rest of the TNG cast coming back, that really makes the entire cast, other than Jean-Luc, pretty expendable, because they can't cram both casts in together. So
that's why I was surprised they made that announcement. I was like, what are we?
So I wish.
Either the TNG cast are just going to be glorified cameos, and we're going to keep going with Rafi and all these guys, or maybe multiple people are going to be left behind in the year 2024 or die or whatever, because there's not room for everybody.
Right.
Yeah, I have such mixed and not entirely positive feelings about those cast announcements that just keep coming and coming and coming. And I hope that when we get there, it's something that is organic, that serves the story, and not just our sense of nostalgia, because it's to me, it's a bit of a slap to the very fine work being done by the actors on this show. I refer you all to the season ender of Enterprise.
Oh man,
I know,
such a good episode, but why did it need to be the last?
Exactly. Oh, it's a Valentine to Star Trek. No, it wasn't.
You just completely undercut the entire other cast. It was their show.
So don't do that again,
yeah,
please. Yeah. All right, Cosmo. Any final thoughts before we say goodnight?
Nope, that's it. Holly, get some rest.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to going to bed. Thank you.
There you go.
Bye, guys.
All right, cheers.
Bye.
Take care now. All right, looks like we just have one more caller this evening, and it looks like that is Chris. And I love this picture behind Chris. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing good. Yes, as you heard, I was also part of the Chicago squad.
Yes.
But yeah, had a great time hanging out with everybody. And yes, here we are. Here's me as Dr. Miglimo with the one and only Mike McMahon. He thought it was really cool. It's funny. I just ran up to him because he was just kind of wandering around the show floor, and I'm like, oh, there he is. I don't want him to get away. So I just like run. I'm like, Mike.
Fantastic.
Mike was wandering a lot specifically. He was very excited that so many people were cosplaying Lower Decks characters.
That's
So,
so
yeah,
good.
no.
Hey, were you both there when the Lower Decks cast came out dressed as Lower Decks?
Yes.
Yes.
And was it mind blowing?
It was so good, and I got lucky because I had, unbeknownst to me, got the photo with them on Saturday, and they stayed in their tunics the whole day. So
Oh
in my
my
photo with
God.
them as the bird, they're all in their costumes, and Jack has the purple wig on, and it is like
Yeah.
just one of the best photo ops I've ever gotten.
Oh my God. Wow. Okay. We know that they have to do a live action episode. I mean,
Right?
come
I mean, come and give
on.
it to me. Give it to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And so then you guys were there in the room when they did the trailer tease for season 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did that, and they showed the peanut hamper poster.
Peanut hamper that's
Wait, there's-
based on Spock, the Search for Spock poster. Every single one of these posters has been the first season poster, teaser poster was based on the motion picture poster.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah.
Second
yeah,
season
yeah.
was based on Twalk, and third season is a play off of the Search for Spock with
Search for Spock.
Spock's face, like sort of floating in space.
Oh my God.
They're very specific choices that are being made. And I
Unreal.
don't know if everybody is recognizing them, but I appreciate them.
Unreal. I love it. Wait, now, Chris, your mom says we have lots of that bourbon.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll tell the story quickly.
Okay.
Because I do have one thing I want to talk about.
Yeah,
Picard.
we do want to talk about Picard, but now I'm
So
intrigued.
I brought
Yeah.
to the Friday night party in
Mhm.
Paul's room, I brought some little minibar bottles of a nice bourbon that
Yeah.
I had found. And the long story is, when I originally bought them up in Oregon in minibar bottles, they were good. And I came down to LA, and it turned out they changed the recipe, so you can't get big bottles anymore. But the
Oh.
company still makes the original recipe in the tiny bottles, and so I have a lot of tiny bottles.
Oh, very cool. Okay. All right. Well, you got the tiny bottles. That's good. Bring along some of those tiny bottles. I'm sure they'll make it to Vegas if
Most
they
definitely.
don't get
Most
consumed
definitely.
before then. Are these good sipping bourbon, or they need to be
Oh
mixed?
yeah,
or- okay.
it is probably it's brown sugar. It's very sweet, very smooth. It is. Yeah, I just I take a minibar bottle and I put it and I have a little snifter. You drink it neat. It's great.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. I love it. Okay. On to Picard.
All right. But
what
yeah,
are your
my Picard
thoughts?
thing, since we are doing
Yes.
Picard. Yeah. So when I watch with closed captions, because that's who I am, and
Same
when
Yep.
That's my identity.
right, and in the scene when Talon is hijacking Renee's phone and she sees she's texting and she curses, in the captions it says curses or talks in Romulan.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Mhm.
Which
Oh,
I
I
was
didn't
like-
even catch that.
Yeah.
I usually can catch like Romulan and Klingon speak.
Yeah, and so like one, that the captain said that. Two, Picard didn't notice, which I found odd because I would assume he knows at least some Romulan. But three, I am once again back on my rampant speculation that Talon is Laris, that Talon is going to retire from watching and go to the future and become Laris.
Whoa.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I was on that once we saw it was Orla, because why
Mhm.
would you pick Orla if there's no connection? But
Right.
especially
Right.
this week with the Romulan and also their sort of little flirting in Picard's "Who is watching over you?" I was like, you're setting
Yeah.
something up here. So I think she's gonna retire or like something, and she's gonna like sort of change her identity and kind of time loop things, and she'll go back and watch him as a sort of repayment or something.
Oh, that's very interesting. Yeah. I mean, look, all of the kind of current slate of Trek shows that are told in a serialized way, there aren't little accidents. There aren't little things like, oh,
Yeah,
we
everything
just-
is wildly deliberate.
Yeah, it is very deliberate, and that has to be one of them. And there was that little flirtation. She mentioned something when they're waiting in line about the way he says her name, and then his tell when he lies that she's not important to him. So yeah. There's clearly a build-up in a relationship there. So how Talin plays into it, that is a very good question. I look forward to that being revealed too. Awesome. Any other thoughts tonight, Chris?
No, that's about it. I will post the long story of the bottles in the Discord because it's a bit funnier when I add in some of the details.
Nice. I cannot wait. That's
Thank you for that
awesome.
tidbit of information, though. I didn't hear the Romulan, and I always appreciate weird
Oh no,
tidbits.
yeah.
Did everybody enjoy the OV-165 Spike making an appearance?
Okay, so I was going to ask you about that. I recognize that ship right away. I remember.
I love an Enterprise reference.
Yeah,
Oh, is that
yeah,
an Enterprise thing?
yeah.
It's in the opening credits of Enterprise. That ship.
Yes. Now that you say
Right.
that, yeah, you're right. Okay.
Now,
Yeah,
see,
that's cool.
I had it in my head that ship would have been much later than 2024. So
I mean, apparently not.
I guess not. Yeah. So it's there. And then there was I think it was on IMDb, there was a reference to Nomad being
Yeah, there's
in that
there's
exhibit.
there's a
poster,
model and a
yeah.
poster.
How did I miss this?
It's
I-
in the back. Like I had to
Okay.
pause it to see it. I
'Cause
certainly
I
couldn't see it on my
rewatched
phone.
that scene with Jean-Luc and Renee having their conversation over and over again, trying to catch that, and I missed it. So somebody send me a time code. Just somebody will figure it out. Oh, Chris says maybe it's on the drawing board in 2024, the OV-165. But that's not the same ship that that young Archer is playing with in Broken Bow, is it?
No.
Yeah, he's got that tiny floating little.
I
Yeah.
don't think it's the same ship. I'd have
Okay.
to go back and watch Broken Bow, but that my first reaction when even when I was in the Uber watching it, Lyft, Uber, whatever I was taking,
Yeah.
I was like, that's a ship from Enterprise. but specifically from the opening credits, I did not recognize it as the ship that he's
Yeah.
playing with in the first scene.
And I will also say it's a little too bad that they didn't go the extra step and get some NASA branding in here, because there's so much real world stuff that I do just like. I kept wanting to call it, oh, they're at the NASA party, and it's a NASA thing because look, there's a Mercury capsule and there's a model of an Apollo capsule and service module behind them, and it's just so obvious what it is. But I mean,
We
come on,
saw Saturn V too. We
Yeah,
saw footage of Saturn V.
exactly. Come on, you couldn't get a little, agreement from NASA? It's Star Trek. There's a long, long history of Star Trek and NASA, so get on it, guys. All right, Chris, thank you so much. We will see you again, I hope.
Oh, definitely. Great seeing you in Chicago, Holly. Wonderful to finally meet you. And yeah.
You too.
Excellent. Take care,
wonderful.
everybody.
We'll keep doing this.
All right, with that, Mission Log Live is produced by Roddenberry Entertainment. Technical production on Mission Log and Mission Log Live by the indelible Earl Green. Be sure to visit podcast.roddenberry.com for the latest from the Roddenberry podcasts. If you would like to support Mission Log directly and hop on our very active Discord, give us a look at patreon.com/missionlog. Special thanks to Holly, who was fantastic here on Mission Log Live. Thank you to everyone who joined us live or later, and we look forward to talking Star Trek with you next week.
This is a Roddenberry podcast. For more great podcasts, visit podcast.roddenberry.com.